Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Christy along with Bill. And today we're very excited because we have one of our favorite people here, Tim O'Neill, owner or co-owner of AZ Property Inspections with his lovely wife, Liz. Now, if you haven't had the privilege of working with Tim or any one of his 10 inspectors, they've been in the Valley for almost 30 years and they've done over 60,000 inspections, both residential and commercial. They are big dogs in the industry here. They go all over the state. They are some of the top-notch people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They've done my own personal stuff as well as they work with clients of mine. So, Tim, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here today. I know your time is valuable, and I'm so grateful you're able to spend some time here with us for a few minutes this morning. So thank you.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. Tim, if you also haven't taken any one of his classes, they do CE classes. They're super fun. And I'm very excited because Tim always introduces this gentleman named Uncle Joe in his inspections. And now we've actually got a physical manifestation of Uncle Joe in some artwork that I've seen recently. So if you haven't seen it, check out AZ Property Inspections on their social media because it's what I think of, like a Danny DeVito type. So
He's looking more like Danny DeVito every day now.
I'm Danny
So,
DeVito inspired. Totally. I get it. Again, thank you for being here. We're going to start off today. I want to chat a little bit. I took a class with our past guest who does a lot of classes for us as well, Patrick McQueen, and I wanted to share a couple things he has talked about that comes to HOAs, some legislative things that are pretty important for us to know. One of the things he talked about is new build laws. And when doing contracts for new builds, we'll often see that the contract says it's a 1-year warranty when technically the ROC, it requires a 2-year. So you may have a 1-year anniversary where you hire someone like Tim to go through your property and check things out, but also know that you have the ability, you're under contract for 2 years. You have a 2-year warranty. Another thing he wanted to clarify is there is a new law that has come out when it talks about HOA and parking. Some HOAs limit parking on the street, right? Like you're not allowed to do it for a long period, over 24 hours or something like that. There's a new law that says by June 30th, your membership has to vote in a quorum. So a quorum has to show up and 51% of those people have to vote in favor or against the HOA continuing to enforce that law. So the default is they don't enforce it any longer. Your HOA has to have this performed and completed by June 30th if the vote is going to be a yes. So just remember that if you're an HOA and they have not discussed the on-site parking things. That was
And then
one
I believe the city fire department trumps that too. If they allow the on-street parking, but the fire trucks can't get down the street, they have the right to trump that.
Yeah, that may be something. Yeah, that's different. This is more, and it also, I believe, does not apply to HOAs with gates that their streets are privately maintained. So that's another thing. So verify with your HOA, have a conversation and find out if this rule applies to you, because by June 30th, that's where it goes off the rails and you really don't have a vote anymore. Now, this was interesting too. There's going to be this new rule that if an HOA sends you a notice of violation for something you had previously had approved, so let's just say bistro lights in your backyard or something, right? And now all of a sudden you've had these bistro lights in your yard for 15 years. Now the HOA says, sorry, you can't have those any longer. If they've been approved and you can show it, then this is what he says. If the board goes after the member for the violation, and it's the first violation the board has for you, if they go after you for the first time, it's $1,000 fine to the board. If they go after someone for a second time, it's a $10,000. If they go after someone for a third time, it's a $100,000 violation. So those are some pretty steep numbers for HOAs. Just remember that. I know it's also your money because you are part of the HOA, but know that there is a potential for your HOA to be sued if they do not follow certain rules coming up. If you have any questions, I always highly recommend you speak with Patrick McQueen over at Medalist Legal. He is P. McQueen, MacQueen, at Medalist, MEDALIST, legal.com. And he has a great newsletter he puts out like every other week as well. I would highly recommend getting information from there because there's just lots of stuff changing. Lots of things are changing. So Bill, segue into what's changing in the market for you.
The market, yes. So big update with the trade talks with China and the tariffs being dialed back. didn't necessarily give the boost that we were maybe looking for on the bond market, but I think it takes time for the bond market to digest news like that. So I think you might see that turn around the next day or so. Obviously, stock market, we saw a nice little jump, which is nice for all of our retirement accounts and investment accounts. But yeah, the bond market's kind of negative reacting to that temporarily, I feel. I think it will kick back around as it digests that information. So as of right now, for the most part, rates have stayed pretty steady.
Oh.
I think until we get some certainty and some calm, I don't think you'll see big moves. I think you'll see little moves. I think you'll see bad days, good days, up and down as
So
the
status
market.
quo for the past
Yeah, it's a great information that I have coming, but I think at this point, buyers, and I'm busier, you're busier. I think buyers have just accepted what the rates are.
Yeah,
At this point,
agreed.
we're at the seams. Had a couple clients that we just need a new place. We need to move.
I saw a decrease in inventory this past week. So the
Mhm.
inventory went down a little bit last week, which was like by maybe 1,500 homes.
And then also great news, the Home and 5 Platinum reopened.
Very cool.
Rate was a little higher than what it was prior. It's 6.09 random number rate, but they have 75 million in funding right this second. Now, last time we had 100 million and that was gone in 3 weeks.
So get your applications in quickly.
So get in if you want to take advantage of that program for first-time home buyers. Great opportunity in the Maricopa County area.
Okay, very cool. Well, last week we talked a little bit about the Fed coming out and talking about stagflation and all these things. Where did that end up for us?
Honestly, it stays status quo across the
Okay, so-
board. I think the fears of stagflation are now taking a half step back because it really hangs on the trade talks with stagflation, I feel. And so I feel like those fears are dialing back a second, but we don't know what will happen. A tweet could come out or a missile be shot or something that could switch it the other direction. It's been tough to predict, but it sounds like those fears are taking a half step back right this second.
Excellent. I will take what I can get when I can get it. So
I will take it too.
Excellent. Tim, so we're super excited because one of the things Bill and I have chatted about is what Bill and I do is the beginning of every real estate transaction, right? But not only that, we have a lot of people we have that help us through the transaction, and then even post-transaction, lots of stuff happens for years, right? And it could be everything from resources to home inspectors to re-inspections. And we figured, Bill and I, that it's a good idea to have people meet people and have conversations with those who are a big part of our transaction. And home inspection, after Bill and I, is the next big step in a contract, right? Because we have somebody under contract, we want to learn all about the house, what its condition is, bugs, pool, everything you can tell us. Now, from the buyer side, we know it's very common to have you come in, right? On the seller side, people don't always think of that. And I know from our perspective, once you get through the offer, the next thing places fall apart is the inspection. So share with us why a seller it would behoove a seller to get a home inspection prior to even listing the property.
Yeah, simply because of the fact that a lot of people that have lived in their house for any length of time really don't know the condition of the house. They see it every day and they just don't know what the roof really looks like. They don't know what's going on up in the attic. They don't know what's going on under the sink sometimes. And so it's great for a seller to have an inspection done. So this way they can prep the house, make sure that it's in decent shape in order to have that buyer's inspector come through and literally find less with the house. And because of the seller inspection. And there are some real estate agents out there that I've worked with over the years that they will not take a listing if in fact the seller refuses to have an inspection done before they even place the house on the market, because they've been blindsided so many times over the years that it's just not worth taking the listing. When they find out they've put up this house for sale and now all of a sudden the buyer's inspector finds, yeah, the roof is completely trashed for whatever reason. And it might be age, it might be golf balls hitting the house. It could be a number of different things, birds.
Oh, yeah.
Squirrels, we have all kinds of mice and rats and everything. And yeah, there's so much that can go wrong with a house. And a lot of people, even though they live in the house, they just don't see a lot of what an inspection would.
Yeah, when's the last time I've been in my attic? I don't think I've ever been in my attic. I think I poked my head up when we bought it, but that was about it. Just because it had a little cool ladder and I just wanted to check it out. That was
Too
all.
hot.
I never go up there anymore. And you know what? The funny thing too, we actually have clients who the home inspector finds stuff prior owners have left behind because no one has been in that attic in so long. So,
All the
but,
time. Yeah.
Also that pre-inspection helps on the lending side too. There's certain appraisals that come out and we're blindsided. Government loans, they check to make sure every window open and closes. So you catch certain things. I think that's great because I don't know how many deals have fallen apart because the sellers are blindsided. They didn't realize how big of a fix something is. Set it up for success. I think that's a great thing.
Exactly. That's
no, I
exactly right.
agree.
Yeah.
And especially with this with spud stuff. Christie, if you have an inspection, you can be like, look.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of pushback from sellers as well. They're afraid if they find something out, they have to disclose it. But we never get away with anything. So it's gonna come up at some point. I prefer to be proactive about it. Let's get it out of the way and address it. And sometimes it can be bigger. And it is unfortunate. You're as a buyer, as a seller, the odds are pretty good you're gonna lose more money if it's during the middle of a deal than what you would pay to proactively handle it. And sometimes it may take longer to manage in a transaction. We don't have those 30 days, right? It may take because of supplies or things that have to happen or whatever. It may take a little bit longer. So it's best we complete it prior than have to worry about it during. And the seller's confidence, they can negotiate their deals better too. They know that
100%.
their stuff is just going to come up prettier. It's a bigger benefit. Now, Tim,
Right.
another question I see people, some inspectors have this little gold thing or something. It's like ASHI certified. Oh, look, I got hearts. So I know. Explain what ASHI certified means and why it's important to have it or not have it. Is it just extra or is it something that's a realtor versus real estate agent, just an extra level of within an organization, like a membership? So if you can share with me, what is ASHI and what does it do?
It's funny, when I teach classes, I ask real estate agents who license home inspectors in the state of Arizona, and most of them have no clue. And a lot of them that do have any idea, they say ASHI, and because they've heard of
Oh,
ASHI.
yeah.
And that is not the case, actually. We're licensed by the BTR, or the Board of Technical Registration in the state of Arizona. And ASHI is a group that some of us belong to. And ASHI has been around since the 1970s, and they're the oldest home inspection group in the United States. And in fact, they had a standard that they put together back in the 70s that the state of Arizona so much back in the early 2000s, 2002 to be exact, when we first became licensed in the state of Arizona, Arizona liked ASHI's standards so much that they adopted those standards as our law for inspecting homes in the state of Arizona. And so ASHI is great because they require us to have 20 hours of continuing education every year to keep our ASHI certification. In the state of Arizona, when you become a home inspector, you are done taking classes. You never have to sit through another class. You never have to take another test. As long as you stay out of trouble and you pay your fee to the state every year, you are a home inspector. But so many things change with homes. Materials change, codes change constantly. And without education, you are ignorant to what is really going on out there. And so that's why having ASHI or being part of ASHI is so very important, in my opinion. I belong to ASHI. All of my inspectors belong to ASHI. And I think it's the main thrust of that. The main reason for that is because of the fact that they require us to have education, and the state does not after you become a home inspector. And things do change. And yeah, in my opinion, it's very important to find an ASHI inspector. And there are probably 1,000 inspectors in the state of Arizona. Only about 300 of us belong to ASHI, believe it or not. All the rest, they're out there floating in the ozone. Yeah, it's an interesting situation that we have here.
Well, yeah, no, I'm all about education because I feel like us too. Not every class I take is a continuing education class, right? Because there's just information out there that's really important to know. And if ignorance is not an excuse, we can't say, oh, I didn't know that in real estate. It's really hard. You
Right.
have to really, you have to know what you're doing. With that, I just want to say thank you so much, Tim, for being here with us. You, of course, you are my favorite home inspector. You do so much for our real estate industry as well. The CE classes you teach are outstanding. Super grateful for you and your team of inspectors, so knowledgeable. They don't blow up deals. That's what I love. They all have a history with it with homes, so they know stuff. And they don't freak people out. They don't make mountains out of molehills. They'll share what's important, some suggestions for how it could be handled or what maybe, and you guys will come out and do reinspection. So super thankful for you guys for being here. And Bill, thank you again for being here today.
Always.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys. Really.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
It's so
Tim.
happy to. And I'll put all of our contact information in the comment section. If you want to reach out, have more questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. I think all three of us, our platform is always about education and teaching and making sure you are getting the right things and the right information. So reach out. Talk to you soon.